and gentlemen. Yes, it's the old Vobie, one-eyed Kenobi here for another exciting Vobe show this evening on Tuesday, the 5th of June, 2018, and it's lovely to be here. I hope you're well, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. I have just had a very lovely spaghetti bolognese. Aye, spaghetti bolognese. It's been a very tasty spaghetti bolognese, and I'm interested in what kind of a dish of food you have been eating today. What kind of food have you been shoving into your mush? In translation, ladies and gentlemen, what kind of food have you been shoveling into your mush? Yeah, that's what I want to find out on today's show. Not just that, ladies and gentlemen. I have news, Gimbal news. Gimbal, Trimble, Thimble, Bimble, and I can't think of anything else that rhymes with Gimbal. Symbol, yes! I've bought a symbol, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yes, nice little symbol. I wear it on my head, you know. That's right. It's a halo. An halo. Oh, hello. Yes, I bought myself a lovely little halo there, ladies and gentlemen, that glows on my head, lights up in the dark. So if ever I come back from the pub, obviously, which I do quite a lot of, obviously, you know, drunk, let's just have a little slurpee. The halo lights up and it illuminates where the key goes in the lock. It's very useful, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, having a halo on your head, you can come back blind drunk and everybody thinks, oh, look at him, he's so good, he's got a halo, can't be drunk. It's just the way he is. That is a factum totem pole, ladies and gentlemen. That is a factum totem polem. I know. I've grown one in my garden. So let's find out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if there's anybody actually watching this nonsense. And if so, we'll ask them why. The lovely Julia is there laughing her head off. She's crying with laughter, apparently. Probably at the halo thing. She probably knows me a bit too well. Jonathan Beluzik is there. He's just had a donut, apparently, which is very nice. What else did he say with his donuts? Oh, yeah, sweet and sour chicken. Yummy, yum, yum, yummy, yum, yum. Gimp mask is what Tom Crawford is wearing, which is always a useful thing to do. Who doesn't like wearing a gimp mask, eh? Gimp mask rhymes with chimes. No, mask doesn't rhyme with gimbal. Gimbal? No, I don't know. Elaine Brazier is there. She says, hello, you lovely people. Hello, Elaine. It's very nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming by. And Hugan is also laughing, which is lovely to see. Paul Watts has joined Maggie Walters, Linda Kane. Smoked mackerel salad. It's so nice to know what you guys eat. Because actually, I'm not a fish person myself. I don't like eating fish. But it's nice to know what you guys get up to. Julia says, funny you should ask. I also had spaghetti bolognese. Well, what are the chances of that then, eh? What are the chances that the lovely Julia has had the same? We must be sort of symbiotic. I'm not quite sure what that means. What does symbiotic mean? Anyway, Anne Osborne says, hello, Elaine. Paul Hine is laughing with tears. Ed Keeley has joined. Ed Keeley, got a question for you, sir. I need your brains. Come back to you in a minute, Ed. Don't go away. Paul Couchman has arrived. Very excited to see Paul Couchman because we're going to be doing some cooking very soon. I believe next week. Next week we're going to be doing some cooking and we've got some exciting stuff coming there. Terence Dackham. Hello, Terence. Lovely to see you. Thank you also for joining. Kevin Hall. Corn lasagna for me for his tea. How lovely. Just a nice mug of that for your tea, was it? Oh, this is nice, isn't it? Nice mug. Nice. Is that in a builder's mug? You know, in a painter and decorator's mug, that corn lasagna, whatever it was. Oh, Elaine Brazier's also had spaghetti bolognese. We're all having spaghetti bolognese tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Nikki Jess has joined. What have you been eating this evening? We'd love to know. Glenn Johnson says hello. Malcolm Glazier. It's showtime. Which is nice. And Jason Smith, chicken curry with poppadoms and a mango chutney. You can't have chicken curry without mango chutney, can you? What kind of chicken curry would it be without the old mango chutney? Jane Ainsley is sending lots of love. Hope you're well up there in Lancashire. You are miles away from us, but we do send you lots of love, Jane. So we hope you're doing well. That's very nice. Everyone now is beginning to talk. They do this, you see. They all come on, they say a few hellos, and then they start talking to themselves. Jonathan Beluzik, whose name I now get, symbiotic interaction between two different organisms living in close physical association. Well, there you are, Julia. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. No idea what that means, but we seem to have some sort of symbiosis, or something went ping then. I don't know what it was. Kevin Hall says there's 40 people watching. What's the matter with them? What's the matter with those 40 people? It's like 40 towers, isn't it? Manuel! Anyway, don't mention the war. Yes, I mentioned it once. What have we got there? Jane Ainsley, thank you, Richard Vobes, no problem at all. Sounds nice. And Mark. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's very kind that you should join. Ed Keeley, I asked you to stay there for a moment and don't disappear, because I want to pick your brains, and I'll get this out because I happened to see you and I thought to myself, oh yes, I want to invest, ladies and gentlemen, in some... I know there's something... Now, this is just between me and Ed. Everybody else can talk amongst themselves. Yeah, 42 now. I noticed that. Thank you. Don't make me aware of how many people there are, because when they start dropping off, I get a bit tetchy. And then I start thinking, oh, I'm not performing well enough, you see. When it goes down, I'll start going, oh, no. Anyway, Ed, very quickly, Ed Keeley. I know there's something called TriCaster. I want some... I want a piece of kit for vision mixing for when we are doing the live outside broadcast stuff. I want to do many more in the future outside broadcast stuff. I know people love it. We had such success with the allotments, which was fantastic. We also had great success with the Regency Townhouse, but there is scope for more. I want to make more stings, video stings. I want to have things to play in. I want some bits and bobs flying in. I want some little comedy sketches that I film. And so what I want, Ed, I want a piece of kit, but I know that TriCaster can cost something like $5,000, but there must be something out there that you might know about or could recommend that is perhaps a bit less than that. That is, we can put in a flight case and operate the show so that I don't have to keep doing it on the laptop. What I want is buttons. I want to be able to do all the thing, cut to 3 cameras and have buttons. Because obviously Cinderella couldn't make it, don't you know? Bad joke there. Thank you very much. Boo, hiss, it's behind you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. That's for you to Ed. Ed, have a think about that and let me know. Paul Couchman says we love the Regency Townhouse, but we can do better. I know we can do better. And let me tell you, I think we are going to Kent. I am hoping that we can take the live show to Kent, where there is a tractor festival, ladies and gentlemen. An amazing event. I want to get the lovely Julia on the back of a tractor. We're going to be going and seeing the lovely Wendy Wakelin and on the back of a trailer being on the back of the traction engine, and we may try and do a bit of live then. We'll ask Wendy if that's at all possible. We may just suddenly go live, but I want to do more of the full format show with mixing cameras and all that. I want to be adventurous. I want to be better than anybody else. I want to take this show up and away in my beautiful balloon. Live in a beautiful balloon. Now there's a good thing. I don't want to go live in a beautiful baboon, but in a big beautiful balloon. Now that would be amazing. So there we are. Has Ed gone? I think Ed's... maybe I was just talking to myself then, because Ed's... give me a thumbs up or something, Ed, just so I know that you heard that. Andy Ash has got his halo on, which is nice, so you can get back drunk and light your way in, which is all very important. Picture has gone blurry, says somebody. Who was that? I can't read it. Oh, it's Kevin Hall. Sorry, it was a bit blurry when you said that. Mine's not blurry. Have I gobbed on the camera? Sometimes I accidentally, spit on the camera. A big red button. Yes, that's what we need. I need a few buttons. Anyway, Paul Hand says, looking forward to some point linkage in action. 3-point linkage in action. Oh, is that a traction engine reference? It may well be. Picture is fine, says Paul Watts. Thank you very much. Now, had this in the post, ladies and gentlemen, you may notice that I have started to do something that people have advised me to do, and that is a bit of redaction on the old... address, because some people sort of get a bit concerned that the heavies might turn round, the thought police. They might come round and go, here, you can't do all that talking on the internet, it's not allowed, all that free speech and malarkey, speaking your mind, can't have that. They may come round and find me, so I've had to redact this. Now this is an envelope. I know who it's from because it's on the back, and I'm not going to turn it round because I don't want to give somebody else's address away. But we're going to open this. You know who it is, and I know you're there, and I know you're watching, and it came today. But the thing about it is, I sense that there is possibly a card in there. I don't know, but I'm sensing there's a card. Now, lovely Julia is coming in tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. The lovely Julia in tomorrow. So we want double figures of what we got now, just to watch her. And because of that, we will open that. Who knows what will arrive? You never know. But anyway, this was to the Bald Explorer, and it came, and it's marvellous. So thank you very much for that. So if you've sent something in... I was going to give you a fanfare. Hold on a minute. I've just lost my fanfare. Oh, that's because I didn't save the thing. Silly me. Supposed to have saved it to the thing. But I can do it now. Marv, eh? Marv. So there we go. Got the fanfare working, which is very nice. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, we got a Tractor Fest coming up, which I'm very excited about. The other day we did the allotment, and I meant to mention that after the allotment, Richard Suggett, who was our host, and what a lovely bloke he was, he recorded his podcast. Now, if you don't know it, his podcast is the Veg Grower Podcast. Put that into Google and you'll find it. Well, the lovely Julia and I were guests on his podcast, and we gave him a piece of our mind. First of all, we said, I think gardening in an allotment with no clothes on is a bit risky, because he does insist on having a load of nettles, because he does like nettle soup, you see. So I said, you're going to sting your big bum, and you'll have horrible spots on it. And he said, don't worry, I've already got them horrible spots. I've seen the doctor and given me some cream, which is very nice. I used to sit on a special medical board, but I don't do that now, because every time I do sit down there, it makes a right mess. Anyway, so check out the Veg Growers Podcast, because the lovely Julia and I are having a little rummage around his allotment, recorded after our success doing the allotment live. But we want to be doing some more lives coming up. We will be doing some more lives. I know I've got to talk to you, Jonathan, about doing a live from the beach. We're going to do a live from the beach. If there is sufficient EE signal there, a 4G signal with EE, I need to go around your house, Jonathan, and just make sure we've got enough of a signal. Because if there isn't enough signal, then we ain't going to be able to go. But we'll give that a try. Julia says, happy per day for tomorrow to your Mrs. Glenn. Oh, is it a birthday, or what is it? Something's going on. I've obviously missed that. Kushti Phil says, evening all, sorry I'm late. Do you know what I need now? I've got a lovely fanfare. I need some sort of... No, that's what I need. I want one of those. Scott, if you're listening, if you're viewing even, I want to... Then I can... When people come in, I can go... And when they are late, I can go... Something like, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, that would be quite good. Richard Suggett, it was a great recording. Do check it out. So we've got that. Now, yesterday's show. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday's show, I showed you the unboxing of a gimbal. You may remember that I had a gimbal. And I showed you what I used to use, which was the Smooth 3. And in the show yesterday, I unboxed the Smooth 4, ladies and gentlemen. The Smooth 4, which, I have to tell you, I since had another look at it, and I have to tell you, I've returned it. I've sent it back. It is not what I want at all. It's really very much geared to phones. You've got to have an app with it. And the one thing that I wanted it to do was to turn from here, looking at me, to when you press the button on it, like the one I normally have, and goes beep, like that, turns round. So it does that. The updated one doesn't do it. And I watched several videos on YouTube, and I couldn't work out why it wasn't turning round. It does lots of other things. It flips this and flips that, and you've got all these controllers, and it's all very nice, but it doesn't turn round. And when I'm making my videos, my walking videos, and I'm plodding along, and you see me going, hello, I'm the Bald Explorer. I'm nice, honest. And then, then it turns round and you see the other point of view. Well, it doesn't do that. And I thought, why? Why? And I was racking my brains for ages, Layden. Ages. I racked them down in the wine cellar. And then I picked them all up again, and they were a little bit sort of higgledy-piggledy. And I worked it out. These phones, these modern phones, they have cameras on both sides, don't they? So in theory, you don't need to turn it round because it's got a camera on the other side. which is no good if you're using a gimbal, if you're using a GoPro or any other camera that will clip in there, because most cameras don't, but just phones. And I thought, oh, that's a little bit of a limitation. Anyway, all the other accessories and bits and bobs, all very nice, but not what I want. So a couple of people had pointed out, after I'd said you couldn't get the Smooth 3, after I said, these are obsolete, I was wrong. I didn't realise that. I just assumed because the Smooth 4 was out that these were no longer available. Well, there's some on eBay, and thank you very much if you're the one who mentioned it. I can't remember, somebody did. But also that you can buy them on Amazon, and they're about 50 to 60 pounds cheaper than when I bought them last year. So I bought another one. I sent the other one back, and I bought another one. Basically, more or less the same money, so that's not bad. Paul Couchman says, another gimbal. Yeah, Paul, if you didn't watch the other show the other day, my gimbal died. It went like that, and it wouldn't get up. No matter how much Viagra I gave it, it wouldn't stand to attention. I shook it, I blamed it, I insulted it, I made it feel guilty, shamed it. It didn't like that. It would not stand to attention. So I thought, oh my God, I'm stuffed. What will I do? So that's why I bought the 4, because I thought I'd buy the upgrade. It's got to be better. And then in the end, that wasn't as good, as I've just explained. And so I've discovered that I'll just buy some more 3. So that's what I've done there. Richard Suggett says, it's not that secret, John. I know where it is and I can keep a secret. Now, I've missed that bit out. This is the trouble when you occasionally glance down and you see it. Jonathan Beluzic says, unboxing a gimbal, that's ever so slightly risque. Well, it is. You never know quite how the gimbal's going to react. Emily Champion says, I'm going to gate crash, Jonathan. What are you going to gate? You don't want to do that. You may damage the gate or the car or whatever it is you're crashing into. Alan Piddington says, Mr. Vobes got a new phone Saturday. Oh, you mean Saturday. At the Honor 10. Awesome phone. Have a look at it. Oh, yeah. No, you're quite right. It's a very nice phone. I particularly like the way it unfolds like this. It's quite big, isn't it? And turns into a portable cinema. Yes, I like that. I'll just put it all back again. Thanks very much. What did you call it? The Honor. How much was it, Alan Piddington? How much was it? Mark Selwer says, my gimbal don't run around. Yes, I have to stop filming for a sec, then change the camera from front to rear or whatever. I've got so used to my brilliant gimbal. I was so thrilled with it, so pleased with it. Because you've got it like this. This isn't it, obviously. This is a glasses case for the hard of thinking. So I've got it like this. It's facing me. 3 buttons. Click, click, click. 3 clicks, rather. 3 clicks. Click, click, click. Beep. It turns round. Saves the aggro. I've used it for a year, and it sort of went funny. But the funny thing is, the following day, ladies and gentlemen, the following day, it worked brilliantly. So there you go. What can I say? Richard Suggett, oh, you've done that. Mark English says, haven't used a gimbal yet. Use a steady hand, but it's a skill developed over the years. Yeah, Mark English, here's a question for you. As much as I love your work, Mark English, here's a question for you. When you do your videos and you've got it on the selfie stick and you're doing it, why do you hold it right up here? That's just a question. I'm curious to know the answer. Don't tell me it's to hide the double chins. Why do you hold it right up here instead of, which is one of the golden rules of filmmaking, is eyeline. Eyeline, you know, in theory, you don't want to be looking down on people because that makes the audience feel very superior. You don't want to be looking up people's nose because that makes the other person look snooty. You know, ideally, you want to be looking at the eyeline. So I'm quite curious why you often, when I see you, sort of are talking to it up there. So if you could answer that question in an essay of 5,000 words, I'd be very interested to know. So Mark Selwood says, do you use your gimbal with your phone, Richard Suggett? No, I think he uses it with a GoPro, don't you? Alan Piddington is laughing, which is great. You didn't tell me how much the phone was. Richard Suggett says, no, Mark, I use a GoPro. There we are, double guessed as much as that. Use the phone memory. Oh, yes. I don't understand, because mine is a very old phone. If I use the phone, not only is the picture quality, I don't think, very good on this old phone, but the memory just disappears like nobody's business. Mark English says creative freedom. Well, of course it's creative freedom. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm not advising you or suggesting, your video, do it the way you want. I just was curious as to why you were doing it up there. I mean, it's good because you see more of you. You certainly see more of you. Get to, you see your girth, all right. Did I say that out loud? I beg your pardon. Sorry, I should have kept that to myself. Paul Couchman says, this is useful. Oh, there we are. Don't know quite what you mean by that. Or on a bike. Alan Pinnington says, 400 quid, but I got it on the Never Never, £16 a month. £400. Is that what people are paying now for a phone? For a phone? Let me just get that, you're... Basically, the phone bit is probably the least used bit. It's a mini computer, isn't it, really, what you're using? And this mini computer happens to make calls. And then you've got to pay for the data. We are all mad, aren't we, really? We're all mad. We pay for all these things through the nose, and we don't bat an eyelid. We really don't. Emily Champion is saying that, Andy, I would like someone else to try and cycle and speak at the same time. Emily, I think you did a marvellous job. For those that don't know, those that are watching on YouTube and don't watch on Facebook, Emily Champion was the champion of riding and talking while she was doing a Vobing report. And I have to say, it's fine. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong. Oh, that's Julia's line. I'm not saying that you should never do it. And if you're on a bike, of course, that might be the way you do it, because it wasn't very long. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying it's like, I don't know, it's like playing music. You learn to play it correctly and then you break the rules. You don't break the rules first, because if you don't know what the rules are, you don't know how to break them and then be clever with them, you see. That's all I'm saying. So one of the rules on filmmaking, it depends, but if you're talking to an audience, it's like you've got to imagine, you see, I've got the camera here. Just there. Oh, I put my finger on the lens. Hope it's not smeary now. You're just there, okay? I'm talking to you, and the reason that I'm talking to you at eye level is because mostly when we interact with people, we tend to be more or less on the same eye level. That's just life. And so I'm trying to mimic how I would be talking to you if you were sitting in front of me. If, for example, I'm standing here like this, looking down on you, it doesn't have the same effect. If I'm looking down on you like this, it's not a good way to do a nice communication, because you wouldn't believe me, or you'd be dubious about what I'm saying. Same way as if I'm looking up at you. So I'm just saying that's just a normal sort of thing. One of the reasons, I used to do loads and loads and loads for 10 years, head and shoulder. Oh, look, you can barely see me. Head and shoulders stuff. Testimonials for people, and one of the mistakes in interviews that often people make is they position the camera so it's either shooting up people's nose or it looking down on them, and it just looks wrong because it doesn't look sincere. That's all I'm saying, and it was just an off the cuff remark, Mark, and it's nothing aimed at you whatsoever. I'm just curious why you did it. That was... Oh, I've dug... Julia, hand me the JCB thing. I've just dug myself into a massive, great big hole, and I don't like it. So there we go. Timothy Wareham says, right, Picasso, for example, was the master artist, then he chose to break the rules. Exactly, that's the sort of thing. Your crothy area is on the eye line there, Richard. Art of putting. Not quite sure what you mean there. We're always dubious. Anyway, Picasso didn't break the rules. He ignored them completely, says Jonathan. I think we should go and have a look into the gallery. Let's get the gallery out of the way this morning. This gallery, for those who don't know, is in the Bald Explorer Facebook group. It's where people post pictures. I don't show all the pictures, obviously, and if people have put up several pictures, I just choose one which represents the set. I do it at random. If your picture isn't shown, it's not because I didn't like it, it's just because it didn't happen to come up when I was setting up the show. And in fact, today's pictures, I have to say, were set up by the lovely Julia, who's done the work for me. Give credit where it's due. I was a bit running late, as I have been a few times this week, and so she very kindly has set them together. But I have seen them, of course, myself earlier. So let's have a look inside the gallery and see how we do. I hope you do this at home. This is the official... You've got to do that. I hope that you're doing it, are you? Get your fingers up like this and... No, all of you. No, some of you are. Yes, I can see you're doing it, Elaine, but not everybody. That's better. There we are. There we go. Alan. Come on, Alan. Come on. That's it. That's it. Spooky, isn't it? I can actually see you through this camera. Yeah, I can. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on with the gallery. So here we go. Our first one. Look at that beautiful rose. Look at that. Where did that come from? This is Dean Rhodes. I think this is in his garden. I'm not too sure, but it's a beautiful rose. Look at that. The roses are coming out at the moment. I don't know if you've noticed. If you've been out in gardens and things, they are looking spectacular. Even the lovely Julia was photographing a lovely rose earlier today, and in Harriet's garden at the weekend I saw a lovely rose. She was harking on about her roses. So that's all very nice. Okay, you can stop doing the dance now, by the way. You can stop that. You can pack it all in. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, Elaine Brazier here has found a lovely yew tree. Look at that. Look at that. It's in a graveyard, of course. It's in St Nicholas's Church in Ringwood. Ringwood is on the way to the New Forest, isn't it? It's on the way to Bournemouth. It's very nice. Interesting. I'm going to have to go and have a look at that. Thanks, Elaine. What were you doing in Ringwood? That's a bit off the beaten track, isn't it, for you? Unless it's a different Ringwood. I can't imagine. Unless there's one near Dover. Perhaps you could let us know. Here we go. How about this? This is a snail, ladies and gentlemen, on a leaf. Now, can you tell me what that kind of leaf is? Is that a sycamore leaf? I think it is a sycamore leaf, if I remember my tree identification correctly. Not 100% sure. Anyway, the snail was taken on a scout trip to Jordan Heights at a scout campsite. So there we are, and it looks like that little snail's having a good old scoff. And I don't blame him. Why not? Let's crack on to the next one. Where is the next one? Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. I didn't say who that was. That was Matthew Holdsworth. It's a Roman snail, apparently. It's a protected species, that one. So well done to you. Here we go. Love this one. Tom Crawford. It's got birds popped onto his lawnmower. Not that I can see that it's a lawnmower, but they look very nice, don't they? Are the two little ones little baby birds? They actually look a bit grumpy. I'm not quite sure whether they're happy they're being photographed. So, Tom, you might have some problems there. Sort it out, mate. Sort it out. Meanwhile, let's go over to Dorset now. Here we go. And Wendy Wakeling has been to Dorchester. I do like Dorchester. It's a lovely place. Isn't that where the Mayor of Castlebridge was written? Or set, you know, not officially, but I think the influence was. County Councillor Dorset take notice that this bridge, which is a county bridge, is insufficient to carry weights beyond the ordinary traffic of the district, and that of the owners and persons in charge of locomotive traction engines and other ponderous carriages are warned against using the bridge for the passage of any such engine or carriage. And that is by E. Archdale Fruix. Fruix. Clerk of the County Council in Dorset. I wonder when that was positioned up. Do you know? I think it's great, you know, ponderous carriages. Do you ever get your traction engine described as a ponderous carriage, Wendy? Fascinating. Ed Warren is back in the country. He's been to Menorca. And he's taken some amazing pictures and he's been posting them in the group. Here's one of them in Menorca. I don't know where that is. Beautiful looking bell tower, which is very lovely. And he's also posted this one here. That's not a yew tree, funnily enough. It's not an oak and it's not a sycamore. It's is it some form of palm tree, a coconut tree? Look at that. Look at the lovely maze and the hills. I hope there is some Vobing reporting from Menorca to come to us. That would be amazing. Let's hope so. So thank you very much, everybody who's been posting in the group. It's terrific. Lovely to see your pictures. If you don't know anything about it, go and do it. Check it out. Board Explorer page on Facebook, and then select the group. One of the lovely admin people will let you in, which is great. Glenn Johnson says, read it again. What do you mean, read it again? Elaine Brazier says, there's a blue, cracking name, that. Kushti Phil says, I only like using cameras with a viewfinder. That way it's easier to frame the shot is from the eye. I agree with Mr. Vobes. One thing I would say about pictures in the group and anywhere, generally, I know in Facebook they don't seem to be too bad when they're doing it, but everybody still takes their pictures upright like this. And from my point of view, maybe it's because I'm old school, maybe it's because I go to the cinema, maybe because I have a laptop that's landscape, maybe because when I look at life it tends to be more in landscape than up and down, maybe because I'm a Londoner that I like London. No, wait a minute, that's wrong. But you know, most people would take photographs landscape, particularly landscape photographs. It just and also when I'm playing them back in the show, it's so much easier than this portrait mode. Portrait is kind of what it says for portraits. Yes, head and shoulders maybe, which is great. But if you're doing landscapes and you do it like that, how much of the image do you end up cutting off? In landscape, you get a lot more sky and a lot more ground than you really do. And the law of 2/3 doesn't work very well. But people do love to do it that way. I keep trying to educate Julia to take them landscape. And you'll notice that people like Tom Crawford tends to do them landscape. You know, some of the really the ones. Colin Brown tends to do them landscape. The other way round, it tends to be the best. Mark Taylor says it looked like the Citadel in Menorca, pronounced Ciutadella. Oh, that's Ciutadella, which means little city. Ciutadella. Aye, it's a come to the Ciutadella. And are you wearing a suit? No, you've got a little Hawaiian shirt and a grass skirt. How dare you come into our Ciutadella? Aye, in my Ciutadella, I have a little bit of goat's cheese. Very nice for the knees if you rub the goat's cheese on the knees, but don't put it up your crack, otherwise you're going to be in the sack. Mark Selwood says, if you watch videos from the royal wedding, it's amazing how many people they had their phones on portrait. Well, of course, they're all amateurs, aren't they, the royals? My husband and I would like to show that we have a gold-plated phone. We take our picture in the royal portraiture mode. Well, see, I mean, the royalty, they're used to sitting, aren't they, whilst people take their portraits. Like this. My husband and I, we do sit like this whilst the official photographer comes in with his mobile phone, Galaxy 9.67 recurring, and takes his picture, click, click, clickety-click. We no longer have to sit for 5 hours in front of some scruffy little painter bloke with a beard, with a Van Dyke beard, and a long loopy moustache and a stupid felt hat. We no longer have to do that, my husband and I. You probably thought for a moment the Queen was actually there, didn't you? Just for a moment, you really thought she was there. Eyeline should always be 2/3 up into the picture as a rule of thumb. There you go. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Andy Ash says, so much to learn with this photo-taking lark. Well, get yourself on the 7th of July on the Richard Vobes how to make better videos. How to fluff up your lines and make better videos. Yes, the 7th of July. If you want to come along to my special masterclass. Oh, masterclass. Oh, no, master, please. Oh, master, your wish is my command. Yes, your wish will be my command when I command you to come along. £10, that's all I'm asking. £10 to help put a little bit of money into the show and help things go, and you will be able to pick the brains. So bring a spoon. You won't need a big spoon. There ain't many brains in there. Richard Suggett says, wow, the Queen on the Vogue show, hitting it big time. Well, that is true, actually. She came in earlier. You may not realise this. She came in earlier. She said, my husband and I, we don't want... mind you, I don't know how long, just a little on a sort of divergence here. How long has her husband got? In those royal pictures, now I didn't follow any of this, but the lovely Harriet had Hello magazine, you know, the old Hello magazine, Hello mate magazine, lying about, and she had the second souvenir edition of the royal wedding. The second, like one souvenir edition of about 500 pages of every different angle of the royals and everybody in it that could possibly be imagined, was not enough. They had to do a second, a whole ream of pictures, all put together on their second edition. No doubt the third edition will be coming out. Anyway, So she happened to have it, and there were pictures of, the Prince of whatever he is, Darkness. No, not Darkness. The Prince, not the Prince of Wales. The Prince of whatever, Cambodia. Where is he from anyway? What's I've forgotten it. Not Prince Albert. I didn't see his Prince Albert in that ream of pictures, luckily. But he looked like death, didn't he? I wondered if it was a waxwork, whether they wheel him in all up like this. So my husband and I may not actually be having him. Soon it'll be my late husband and I. We like Richard Vobes very much. He takes a piss out of the royals, and that's what you can do if you've got free speech. Free that speech. Free it. Let it go. Let it gavort all over the place. Nikki Jess says, very good, Richard. Thank you very much. She's laughing. I'm not quite sure what it is very good. Mark Selwood says, pay up your 20 quid towards Richard's class masterclass. Your 20 quid. It was only a tenner. It's gone up now suddenly. Alan Pinnington says, Mr. Vobes, the Queen may watch this. Watch what you say. Off with your head, Mr. Vobes. My late husband and I, soon to be, my waxwork dummy and I... You see, you can do that with free speech. My waxwork dummy and I, not very amused. Off with his head! Off! Oh, I'm going into Queen Victoria. Off with his head! You know, the Queen of Hearts. Do you remember the Queen of Hearts in that Alice in Wonderland story? Very good. Always up for the mark. The Duke of Edinburgh. Thank you very much. The Duke of Edinburgh. Now, I should tell you, actually, just reminded me, I nearly forgot to mention, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are going to be making an appearance on the show, ladies and gentlemen, next week. I had a word with them. They were just passing by, having a look at their domain. They stopped their car just outside Morrison's whilst one of their lackeys nipped in to buy them, some fags and that sort of thing. Fags, mags, and a few hags. Not quite sure what they do with those hags. Perhaps they burn them in the evenings. Anyway, they were there, and I just, sauntered up to the car, tapped on the window like this, and the window went down, and I forget which one is it? Which one's the Duke? Is it Andrew? No, Harry, isn't it? Harry? One of them, anyway. The window came down, and with all his royal regalia, he went, "Oh yes, what is it, mate?" Because when the royals are off duty, that's how they speak. "Oh yes, what is it, mate?" he said. And I said, do you fancy doing the Vobes show next week? He said, "Oh yeah, the Vobes show. Well, I do quite like it, actually. I do watch it from time to time," he said. "I watch it. I was watching it during our wedding, Oh yeah, well, I only had that other bird, that bird who, there was one I married, old Megan. Yeah, Merkel features. She came up. She said, 'Oh, I do. Oh, I really do.' And I thought, God blimey, I'm lumbered." And then his lackeys came with the mags, hags, and bags, and then the window went up, and oh, wait a minute, there's the knock at the door. "Oh, are you the bailiffs? Not the bailiffs. What are the meat eaters? No, not the beef eaters. There we are, the beef eaters. Are you the beef eaters? Yes. You come to take me away? Oh, good. Oh no, there's no mugging about." It's all a bit mad today. I do apologise for that. Nigel Sandler says, anyone can figure out why my Samsung Galaxy has started preventing me from viewing live broadcasts. I think it's taken exception to the Vogue show, to be honest. I can see the picture, but it's only visible as if viewing through a very dark ND times 8 filter. Have you got the screen? Have you got the thing turned down? Sometimes that can happen. Have you got the light? The backlight. Have you got that turned down? Mark Selwood says Richard's on form tonight. Oh, he is. Oh, he's mucking about, isn't he? He's mucking about. He's wasting time. Do you know? I had a whole list of things to talk about. What is the time, by the way? It's 39 minutes. So I was going to talk about... Alan Pinnington asked me yesterday, "What's the story with the eye?" He said, "What's the story? What's the story, Richard? How did you lose your eye? Do tell us. Do tell us, Richard. How did you lose it? How was it? Was it a horrible accident with a pitchfork? What happened?" He talks like... He goes on and on and on. It's so hard to stop him. He says, maybe there are... He says, maybe... there are Vobes towers to kick you out and take over. If you take more time in typing, I might not take so long reading it out. I'm not quite sure what you meant there, Alan. Try it again. Oh, how many watchers has he lost? Has he lost any royalists? Oh yes, they've all gone. All the royalists. Any royalist supporters left? I am actually a royalist supporter. I do actually believe that having the royal family is a good thing. I actually think it is a marvellous thing. to be honest with you. So there you go. I think having the royals is fantastic. I think it's just, something that we here in England or Britain, whatever you want to call us, time for a swig of coffee. That was nice. I think it's lovely that we've got that other people, like the Americans, don't have. I just think that's a really good thing. I don't know that they do very much. I'm sure that they add colour, they add pageantry, they keep in the tradition alive. They're not in charge of our laws, thank goodness, but, I think it's very good. We all like a bit of that. It's all a bit of, we are the envy of the world with that. We shouldn't knock it. We really shouldn't knock it. I think it's a marvellous thing having the royals. Nobody would want them to go back to when Charles I, for example, who thought he had a God-given right to reign. No one would want that. No one is saying that. Anybody saying that? Let's give a God-given right. Shut up, Charles. Sorry, Charles I just popped his head over. Well, that's all he can do, isn't it? Seeing as he. Yeah. Anyway, we're not saying that, but because that would be a dictatorship, really, if all of that. We've gone through that, but it's part of our history, and our history is so important. That's what people do. I'll get on my soapbox in a minute, but history and where we've come from in the 2,000 years that we've taken to get here is so important, and you can't just wash it out, as I think some people are trying to do, trying to wash out our history and change things. Change is good. I've got nothing against change, but let's not do it fast. Let's not do it too quickly. Served my Queen and country, says Paul Hind. Well, I salute you, sir. There we go. Kevin Hall says, I'm a royalist and proud to be so. That's marvellous. Divine right of kings, says Andy Ash. That's right. That's what I was talking about. Alan Piddington says, sorry, fat fingers syndrome. He is afraid. I have to say, Simon Brown has arrived. Hope you feel special, Simon Brown. We pointed that out. Cushy Phil, keep the royal family, but don't give them so much of our money. Well, that is true. That is true. I wouldn't mind having slightly cheaper access to, the crown jewels, really. Cheaper access to have a look at everything. I mean, I do think it would be nice if some of us could be invited to breakfast, others to dinner. Dinner with a royal. Paul Couchman. It would be great if Paul Couchman could cook for the royals and I was to film it. There'd be lots of exciting things you could do with that. Mark says, bad royals come and go, but the monarchy is a wonderful thing. There we go. And Kevin Hill says, after all, if we didn't have the royals, we could end up with another Trump. So that may be. I just don't want I don't want a presidency. That's really what I don't want to say. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried. Here's a thing. I don't know if you've ever tried to renew your passport. Have you? You might be going out of this marvellous country for whatever insane reason that you have. You might decide, and I can't think why you possibly would, when there is so much of this beautiful land to explore and look at, this wonderful, amazing country that we call Great Britain. But some people may decide to go overseas and look at some of the other world, on occasions. It is important. And you may think, oh, look at my passport, which soon, I gather, is going to turn back to being blue. Oh, please go back to being a proper blue passport, none of this red rubbish. Although the fact that it's actually not going to be made in the UK is a bit of a sad, sorrowful state of affairs, but typical of today's society. But anyway, moving on from that, if you did and you suddenly need to do your passport, we had that situation today. I had the lovely Julia came over today, and she needed to pick up a passport renewal form for her son because it had expired. And they're going away to Spain, her husband and her son. And we were going to go and film this tree in Worthing today, which we were going to go and do and film yesterday, but we had various things to get through. And then the weather changed and things went wrong anyway. And so she said, oh, by the way, I've got to go and sort out my son's passport. And I said, well, when are you going? She said, at the end of the month. I said, well, you've got to get on with that quick then, haven't you? She said, yes, I know. So we rang up. I said, don't worry, I'll look after you. So we rang up the passport office. Hello. They told us what we had to do. We had to fast track. I don't know if you've done a fast track. It's quite interesting. So she's now got a meeting in London this week but she needs to take her son's passport and her own passport, but her old passport, and she needs to take some new pictures of her son so that they can fast track the passport and get it all done. You pay for the privilege. Oh yes, it's another money making scheme, isn't it? You pay for the privilege. But anyway, so I said, well, that's fine, let's I'll drop you home, and we've got the forms. If you need some help filling out the form, I'll help you with that, no problem at all. But I said, let's, because her husband has the car, you see. They've got a car, but her hubby's got the car. He's at work. She's got to try and sort this out. So I've got a car, and I said, okay, forget the video. Let's go and get your passport pictures for your son. So we picked up her son from school, and I said, where's the nearest photo me thing? You know, the photo booth that you sit in. She said, oh, there's one in Asda. I said, okay, well, we'll drive up to Asda. So we drove up to Asda. We got all excited, got him in there. We got it all lined up. Blooming thing didn't work, did it? It's out of action. Oh, you could have told us. Out of action. So, oh, blimey, where's the next one? Well, you think, you know when it's like you go, but they're everywhere. Everywhere I go, I see one of these photo me's. Where would it be? And then all of a sudden we're going, oh, I don't know. So we looked up online. The next one we went to was a shop. Was a photographic shop that I said, oh, it'll be great, better in there, because they'll take the picture with a special camera and print it off, and it'll all be right. So we hightailed it to Sompting, which was about 2 or 3 miles around, because it's all, you know, after school run, so everybody's on the road picking up their kids and doing all of this sort of nonsense. And we found this place. Parking, nightmare. Everybody, yellow lines and people with the yellow peril hats or the blue, whatever they call them now these days, all over the place, swarming with their little meters and cameras and pencils and notebooks and all that, ready to take, trying to find somewhere to park, hot-foot it to this little shop. Little Elijah's going, oh, do we have to do it? Yes, come on. We're all rushing to get these pictures done. Blooming shop's shut. So it's like, well, now where do we go? We were looking online. Where can we go? I think we went to... I can't remember now, Julia. Did we go to 4 in the end? Anyway, we ended up almost into Brighton. Looking online. There's one there. It was like chasing the elusive... do you remember, what was that? Kit somebody and his rabbit, his gold rabbit. Remember that book? It came out in the 80s, I think it was. There was the golden rabbit... and with all these clues about where it was hidden with the ruby eyes and things, and it was hidden somewhere, and you had this book, and the world got involved in trying to find this sodding rabbit, this golden rabbit, and every day he would give another clue. Can you remember who that was? Glenn Johnson says the wine is open. Oh, okay. These portraits are the pain in the neck, says Andy Ash. It's quite right. David Hellier has joined. Hello, David. Downsman and Michael keep getting security warning on the Vobes show. I'm not surprised. Why would you get a security warning on the Vobes show? Emily says, I got mine done in a photographic studio much easier. Yeah, it's helpful, Emily, if they're open. This one, shut. Anyway, as I say, we ended up near Brighton, on the way to Brighton, and we went into a big Marks and Sparks, and there was one of these things, and we got it done. And then, of course, the machine wouldn't take the cash. There was a coin. There was a coin stuck in the machine. Julia had the right money, ready to shove it in. There was a blooming coin jammed in it. Wouldn't take the money. It was like, oh, no! Anyway, in the end, luckily, it did have a debit card thing that, you know, those... the ones that you fly about, you flap it in front of the whatever it is. I don't have one. I still have to put my pin in. What's the name of those? The flappy ones, where you flap the card around in front of the machine, and then 8 other people have brought out their special readers as well, and also taken your money. I can't remember what that's called. It was closer to Hove, actually. She says, Julia, don't. It was almost in Eastbourne. That's. We were tearing across the country. We nearly got to John O'Groats. If I'm honest with you. If I'm not honest with you, it was nearly at Hove. All right, fair enough. It was a nightmare. Hello, David Haley. I hope you're well. I remember that book. It had an egg. Yeah, that's right. It was like a Fabergé egg or something. I can't remember. But it was an interesting book. Malcolm Glazer says contactless. Thank you very much. Yes, that's the flappy one. Anyway, we managed to get the cut. We managed to get the things. Now, at least Julia can get it into the school, get a teacher who recognised this boy. Do I know you?
Yes, I'm Elijah.
Do I know you? Never in class.
No, I come every day.
No, I think you bunk off every day, don't you? I've seen you legging it across the playing field, climbing over their hedge, and escaping to the sweet shop next to McDonald's. That's where you are, my boy. I'm not signing any of this. Hopefully we'll get the teacher to sign it, and then Julia can get to the passport office and get that all sorted. So anyway, that was it. Masquerade, Kit Williams. There you go. That's what it was. Masquerade. Well done, adding Alan Piddington. Did we ever was that rabbit, the golden rabbit, whatever it was, or the egg, or whatever it was that ever found? Was that ever found? It was good, but I don't know whether anybody ever found it. What is it with you, Richard? Banks last. Oh, I know. Banks now. Photo booths today. Hey ho, not to worry. Anyway, so what is the time? Oh, we've only got 9 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. 9 minutes. Now, the other thing is, as I said before, did Ed Keeley disappear? He sort of came. I spoke to him, and then he rushed off. Is he there? Is he out there? Somebody must tell me, because I need. He does vision mixing, you see, and I want this bit of kit, but he must know. Tap and Go is done in rugby. Oh. Is that a little game? Is it like It? Do you remember It? When you used to play it and you used to tap people on the shoulder and run away, or ring on the doorbell and then run away. What was that called? I don't know what that was called. Live shows. We want to find more places to go to do live shows. A few of you started to make suggestions, but I would love to know more suggestions. Somebody suggested on a narrowboat. Somebody suggested partway down the River Arun, if I remember rightly. We want some more ideas, realistic ideas. We actually, Julia went and researched narrowboats. I said to Julia, go on, find out how much it costs to have a narrowboat, and we'll do one on a narrowboat, because we could hire a narrowboat, and then we could do some videos up and down a canal, and then we'll do a live show. It would be great. Well, she worked out it was going to be something like £500 or £600 just for, a 2-3 day trip, which is a lot of money. Unless, of course, you lovely people are prepared to cough up that sort of thing. And I just said, surely there are day trips. You don't get very far in it. And it would be great to do an overnight, wouldn't it? To have a little fire in the evening crackling away to see the night, and at 8 o'clock do the live. You wouldn't want to take the boat back at 8 o'clock. So, an overnight on a little... Has anybody got a narrow boat that they're not using? Or a little ocean cruiser or something? That would be nice. Live from a pub, says Richard Suggett. Yeah. Anybody got any good ideas for a pub? Know a pub that we can go? Know the landlord of a pub? Somewhere where we can go? That would be good. Julia says, we'll have to borrow my in-laws' boat. I do love that boat. But apparently it's a very long one, isn't it? I was hoping to have a little tiny little thing that we could balance everything very precariously. It would be rocking from side to side every time a cruiser goes. But, one of those hydrofoils. You see those on the canals a lot, don't you? The hydrofoils, they go zipping past. Lovely. Paul Hines says, I know some people who shoot longbow on a range next to a pub in Hampshire. Oh, we could do a live show with a couple of targets either side of us, couldn't we? Or perhaps just me. And then as the show progresses, we see the arrows, like that. That would be great. And we just hope, as it's live, think how risky that would be. Hope that the arrows don't actually hit me. Especially if I was to suddenly reach over this way. Straight in the arm. Oh, it's live. Not for much longer. It'll soon be a dead show. That's no good. I know the landlord of a pub in Burgess Hill very well. There we go, mate. That's your next task. Emily says, I can do a static caravan and my parents work in a pub. Shall I ask them? Yes, please. The only criteria, that would be great to do it on a campsite or have the caravan in the background. Anything like that. That's really good. I quite like the static caravan. Have the caravan in the background. We do the show in front of it, so you see the background. And then we could see, was it your mother-in-law or something, your parents or something, or people are coming and going. You could bring out the iced creams, Emily, and come out with a nice, baked beans on toast, whatever it is that people have on holidays, some candy floss on a stick. Would you like the candy? Hey, Richard, would you have the candy floss now? Because you'd be in the background there, Emily, marking books, obviously, hundreds and hundreds of books, because, being a teacher. Alan Piddington has put a link to the treasure hunt thing. Thank you very much for that. That's very good. I can drive it well if you don't mind if you don't mind my saying. I'm sure you can drive it well, lovely Julia. You could do all the driving. We could rig the camera up on there. You be on the tiller. I'll be the Hun. Tiller the Hun. All good fun. We need a mobile studio. We do need a mobile. That was I was trying to get hold of Ed Keeley. Ed Keeley's clearly not there. Is he there? Has anybody seen him? Has he gone? He clicked in, and I said to him, Ed, don't go away, and boom, he went. So that's no good. Yes, anyway, I want to do more live shows from interesting places, and if anybody can help, so Emily, that would be great. I think, did you say, Emily, that you were going to you were going to come down and do a show here? That would be good. We've got the lovely Julia. We need more guests on the show here as well, so if you fancy it, get in touch. Send me an email.
Send an email to richard@vobes.com.
richard@vobes.com. Very easy to remember. That would be the best. Are you still coming on the 17th to the 1940s, Alan Piddington? Yes, that's only next week, isn't it? I want to know, Alan, who do we contact about doing... Can we get a place to put our live studio? You saw what we kind of need, didn't you? From the... From where is the... Oh, God, have I lost the pictures? Where's the pictures that we had before? Here we go, look. Here we go. We need this sort of space to set up a studio. I know it's at... not Micklegrove. Where is it? Micklegrove? The Priory. Where is it? It's at Michaelmas. No, not Michaelmas. Not Micklegrove. Where is it? It's at some strange sounding place. I've been there. It's very nice. But we need a bit of that. We need... 4G internet. Otherwise we can't do it. We need 4G internet. So what's the name of the play? I got confused now. Not Michaelmas, not Micklegrove. It's something Mickleham Priory. Mickleham Priory. I've got it. It's all right. No, you don't need to type it. I've got it. I can send my wife to do a live show as long as you don't send her back. Oh, that's charming, Paul. That's charming, that is. Oh, yes, and we need power too. Yes, as yet, I haven't got enough money to invest in a little generator, but I want to get a little quiet, Richard knows the type, some sort of silenced generator. Mark, oh, yes, Mickleham Priory. Thank you, Mark. That's very kind. The lovely champs on the Vobe show. Make it happen, she says. That would be good. So more live show. I want to do more of that because I think that's interesting. It's better than just me flopping about here doing stuff, although we've got the lovely Julia in tomorrow, which is going to be fantastic. The other thing is I'm also looking for, and I have yet to find it before we go because we're running out of time, is a camera. I mentioned this in The Naked Englishman. For those of you who are patrons of the Vobes and get The Naked Englishman, I mentioned this in The Naked Englishman. I'm after a little... portable camera that I can plug in a microphone so that I can do the old Mark English thing, but I would do it down here, handheld behind the scenes stuff over a week. What I want to do is to offer my patrons a behind the scenes. They get The Naked Englishman, which is the podcast behind the thing if you're a patron, which is a podcast audio thing, but also I want to do a little piece every day and put together a video once a week which is behind the scenes, whatever it is I'm up to, wherever I'm going. So, for example, tomorrow I'm out with Matthew, and we're going to a very interesting church and somewhere else, and possibly around a graveyard and lots of interesting things. Going to do that. Thursday and Friday, I'm actually a patron of reading at a school in West London, where I'm running a writing workshop and a tech fest. So I'm looking for a little camera that I can do these little bits, not the GoPro and the thing, that's all too complicated. I just want something I can plug the microphone in permanently and just pull out the bag and go, oh, we're just going off to do such and such. Oh, look at this, we've got this problem and that problem, or we're doing this, or look, Julia's got this issue or whatever it is, and I'm trying to do, you know what I'm saying, so we can cobble that together and give the patrons, solely the patrons who are the supporters of the channel, who make this happen, the people who, give us a couple of quid a month, that's all it is, who makes this happen so that you lot have lots of entertainment, those people who just help make the fight, because I no longer have got a job, and so this is it. If I can't make this work, I'll be on the dole. So we need to up the ante, offer more, make the offer really great, have some real good content. I'm working very hard on all of that. Keep the daily videos coming. It's all coming, so there you go. And if you want to support, it's very easy. You just go to thebaldexplorer.com, become a Bald Explorer patron or a patron of Vobes. Go to thebaldexplorer.com /support. And there you can find different ways. You can either do a one-off donation, or you can do like a couple of quid a month. Just, it all helps. It really does. I know it seems strange. We don't have sponsors. We don't have advertisers. One of the reasons I don't do that is we don't have enough people watching as yet to warrant it. We need something like 10,000 before people are really interested. And so we're quite piddling compared to that. But also, sponsors start to dictate, because they're giving you significant sums of money. They start to dictate and influence you and say, oh, you've got to mention this and mention that. And I would rather keep the community that we have there, you guys, you know, in a very small way. All you're doing is you're buying a cup of coffee a month and you get lots of stuff. That's really it is, and you know, I try to communicate, and where possible I'll come and meet you and, you know, spend time with you, have a drink with you. Downsland Michael knows, we've met him a couple of times, met up with Claire Leach and had a cup of tea, you know, and all sorts of people. So and people help out here. It's just such a lovely community. It's got a great feel. I think we're doing better than, you know, we may not have the numbers, but I think we've got such a lovely community that it's, you know, and it's not just me, it's you guys, it's all of you contributing and putting up your pictures and doing all of that, and that's so important. So well done, give yourselves a big pat on the back. Nigel Sanders says, I think you should stop promoting a couple of quid a month and instead go for a £5 a month. Well, it's struggling to get people to give you a couple of quid. And it's doubtful that people give you a £5. Emily Champion says he does the weekly quiz. Who does? They've worked there in the pub. Oh, you could do that. We could go into the pub. Judith Oakley says the bald publican. There we are. Nikki Jess is off. Oh, bye, Nikki. Nice to have met you. Thanks. I'm doing 2 hours tonight, by the way, Nikki. I'm doing 2 hours. Oh, there we go. Awesome community, says Richard Suggett, which is good. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much, Mark. So, good night, says Nikki to Anne. She's really going. She's making a big effort to go. Nice to see you, Nikki. Thanks for coming in. So that's really good. Julia says, a live from the pub during a quiz. Team Bald Explorer group. Not sure it would work with the slight time delay. Yeah, no. Question number 5. The Great Fire of London in 1666 happened in what year? What year was it? It's 1666. Wait a minute, I'm just waiting for the delay. Hang on. When was it? People might cheat. Gary Wayne has joined. Hello, Gary Wan. Gary Wan, we're just about to go. What a time to join. Ed Keeley, where has my favourite book gone? It's me. Ed, did you not hear me earlier in the show? You checked in and then you disappeared, Ed. You checked in, you disappeared. I was asking you about TriCaster. I was asking you about mixing stuff, but it's the end of the show now. I'll have to send you a message. I don't know. Nikki Jess says, no, I'm not go yes. Okay. That's your prerogative. However, when you hear this music... it means I've got to disappear. Another show done and dusted. Thank you so much for joining us. So lovely to see you. I sent a PM about it. I beg your pardon. I'm so sorry, because I can only go by the comments, you see, and if I don't see your name, I do apologise, Ed. It's lovely. I'm so pleased. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, had a fantastic show. It's always nice to talk to you. You are my friends. We may not have met yet, but hopefully we will. You are my friends. You are always welcome. Thank you so much for everything that you do, all the contributions. Get yourselves over to the Bald Explorer group page. If you're not a member, join up. It's free. It's free to be a member of that. Post your pictures, tell us where you're going, share your stories, all that sort of stuff. It's so lovely. We are the best. You guys are the best. I know that because you're all wearing a summer vest. Hooray! Thank you very much, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow with the lovely Julia in tow, which would be very nice. Until then, thanks for watching. Take care, one and all. Be good. Bye for now. Bye. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Goodbye. My husband and I say arrivederci. Goodbye.